Hi, I'm Dan at Vintage Velo and this is Hobo. He's come to help today, and today we are going to be riding a vintage French Bertin race bike from the early 90s. Now this one a little bit different today, not my usual kind of fare, but the good chaps over at bikeforums.net on the Classic and Vintage forum page there, every year they do a Clunker challenge. The idea being $100 or thereabouts. I think this year's budget is $108, and you are trying to buy and service a bike at no more money than that, and then get on it and ride 100 kilometers, which is the plan. Now, I went to my local Emmaus, and I got very lucky. Usually the bikes there are terrible, but in there this day, a couple of weeks ago, and this one here was on for 70 euros. Although it's got Shimano throughout, Shimano 600, which is great. The SDI levers were jammed, didn't work. None of the derailleurs worked either, so had to pull all of those apart and get it all serviced and working. Now, I also bought 10 euros for a new chain because I don't like old chains, and the rest of the money I spent on a snazzy super convex top, which is pretty neat. So my total spend, 100 euros, put that through an exchange calculator, worked out about $104.50 for everything we see here. I probably should have bought some better tyres because these are shot, but hopefully they will stay together. So what have we got here? So the Bertin itself is made of Vitus GTI, great name for the 90s, but basically it's triple butted. So what this means is the tubes, they're 6mm thick in the middle here, and then they open up to 8mm and then 9mm to make for a nicer, lighter frame. And they've also got a helicoil on the inside, very much like Columbus SLX. So in fact, it's kind of the French equivalent of SLX, but quite kind of neat. A nice thin frame, attractive forks, kind of well made. The brazing up close is not great. It's certainly no Colnago or Bianchi. It could be a lot better, but hey. And you've got to note how horrendous this paint job is. White with green splodges. I did do a video on whether you should paint a bike, and most of the time the answer is no, but I think we'd all agree on this one. If this was just a nice white pearlescent, it'd look fantastic. These green splodges, they're just an affront to taste. They should definitely go. Roll saddle, lucked out there, that's brilliant. Look pedals, they should be fine. Tyres, as I say, knackered. Nice 3T bar and stem, and Shimano 600 throughout. So I think we can get out there, see if we can do 100 kilometers on her. So we're out now on the stunning roads of the Royal Vendée in France. Perfect route for trying to nail 100 kilometers on this $100 bike. Roads are beautiful, not a lot of traffic, and it's like a double loop, so I'm never that far from my home base should something go wrong. And to be fair, there's a lot that could go wrong on this bike. It's very untested. First impressions are you know, pretty good. For the money I paid, really good. The look pedals, the tension springs seem to be pretty well failed, so they don't really clip in the way you would expect them to clip in. My feet are much more just kind of rested in there. I didn't think to check those. All I knew was that I had some cleats that fitted the pattern, but there we go. Can't check everything. The frame itself, you know, it's pretty good. The feedback could be better. It's quite stiff. It climbs okay. It's very short wheelbase, so quite lively. It does descend okay. It's nothing dangerous. For me, I would prefer something maybe just 5mm longer, and the wheelbase just be a bit more sure-footed in the fast curves. And now and again, the Dura A600, though very good for this kind of a ride, does ghost shift. I think that's because I've still got, however old the original cables and cable guides are. Certainly the cable guides are kind of delaminating and falling apart. So if I was going to keep this bike I would definitely strip the whole thing down and throw a few hundred at changing every consumable for the best I could get. Speaking of consumables, oddly, despite these tyres being, I don't know, maybe 19 mil wide, I've only filled them to 80 psi because I'm a bit worried about them letting go. But oh, they are dead. I'm getting very, very little feedback up through the wheels. Again, a nice swap to something like 22 mil Veloflex or something like that would really change how this thing rides. But I'm pretty hopeful they will last the distance. So I've just passed the halfway mark, over 50 kilometers through. Pulled over just quickly, have a nice drink. Despite a bit of clouds, a very warm day here today. It's about 31 degrees. Yesterday, I was supposed to do this ride yesterday, but it was 42 degrees. That just wasn't going to happen. So I stayed well out of the sun. I took the bike over quickly. No cracks have appeared, always a good thing. And I checked the spokes, none of those are letting go either. Everything seems nice and tight. The seat post hasn't shifted at all. So far, so good. 50 to go. Coming up now, quite a fast descent, which will be an interesting one to test this on. I think I usually hit about 65-ish kilometers an hour on this descent. Not sure what I'll hit on this one. I'm not sure what my confidence level is, so I'll certainly cover the brakes just to be safe. But it's always a great indicator of a good frame is confidence in descending. You know, most bikes go uphill as long as you put enough power through the cranks. Going downhill confidently, well, let's find out, because here we go. It's not bad. Picking up quite a lot of speed now. I'm in a full tuck. A little bit of wind, but it's not affecting anything. And that's tracking remarkably straight. A bit more to come. Pretty good. Not scary at all. Track very straight. Not a technical descent at all, but still a fast descent. So always good to know that you got a bit of confidence there. Now back to some more hills. Unfortunately, with the knackered clipless pedals, getting out the saddle is not an option. So it's all seated climbs today. Okay, I've just got back from today's Clunker Challenge ride. That's 100 kilometers in the bag. I've uploaded it to Strava. Let's have a quick look here. I actually managed 97.9 kilometers. That doesn't include the warm up and warm down, so I think we can call that 100. 29.6 kilometers an hour average. Could have been a little bit faster, I think, but the wind really got me for a fair bit. And just over 1,000 meters of climbing elevation. I'm pretty happy at that. The great thing is the bike itself didn't fall apart, the tyres didn't explode, and everything, apart from a bit of ghost shifting and a few clicks and clacks, it generally went very, very well. Yeah, yeah, you know, if you poured a few £100 into this, it could be an epically good bike, I think. Yeah, that's for another day, I think. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, do click somewhere about there to like and subscribe for more vintage bike rides, builds, and general reviews and bike fun. Now, give me my car and I'll go back.